This program is available on ESPN2 HD. The Subaru of America rally team has claimed victory at our first two events. Travis won in Michigan, and teammate Ken Block led a 1-2 sweep in Missouri. Can the private teams raise their game and catch the top guns, or is this championship already decided? Brace yourself. This is Rally America.
Show for you today. Over the next hour, you're going to see highlights from the Olympus Rally and STPR in Pennsylvania. But first, our coverage will start here in Portland. If you're wondering about my fashions, I'm competing this weekend in the co-driver seat for Wyatt Kubelman. Wish me luck.
For Rally America Round 3, we've come to Portland, Oregon for the 8th annual Oregon Trail Rally. I'm Paul Page with longtime rally analyst Bill Wood.
Paul, the rally starts on Friday afternoon at the Portland International Raceway with 6 special stages comprising the famous road course and an infield section on dirt. It's fun for the drivers and popular with the spectators, but these are just short sprints, totaling just more than 10 miles. As a wise man once said, you can't win a rally on the spectator stages, but you sure can lose it.
Travis Pastrana should have listened. After posting the fast time on stage 1, well, let him tell it.
Well, good news and bad news. I haven't checked all the times, but I think we're currently leading this rally. The bad news, it was our first and only stage. No, we're out. So it would have been nice if we could have at least made it to the end of the rally, but maybe more heartbreaking, but I just love to drive, man. It sucks to come all the way out here and not be able to do it.
Travis wasn't the only favorite to fold early. Lachlan O'Sullivan had the motor on his number 90 Mitsubishi go hand grenade just after 2 stages.
Andrew Comrie Picard did not get even that far. He blew up on his practice stage and pushed across the start line and retired. After all was said and done at PIR, the lead belonged to the champion drifter and professional stunt driver Tanner Faust. He'll take a 2.5-second lead into day 2. Here's the top 6. Now, let's get serious. The real rally starts out in the forest on day 2. We're 60 miles west of Portland. The weather is cool, overcast, and raining. But as they say in the Pacific Northwest, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes.
Stage 7 is 9.62 miles long and all turns. In Missouri, we were seeing 85-mile-an-hour averages. In Oregon, though, they'll be on the ragged edge in the mid-50s.
First on the road will be Patrick Richard and Martin Hedlund. Richard was national champion in 04 and 05. He hasn't competed since the X Games, so he's a bit rusty, managing only 7th best on stage 7 and 4th best on 8.
Pat chose to run first on the road because of the hay bales that were lining the course. He didn't want to have to deal with them being knocked onto the road, so he hit them all himself.
Look at those front brakes.
A lot of the drivers use what's called left foot braking to put their car into a tail out mode as they enter a turn, so they have to throttle and the brakes on at the same time. Here's Matty Orio doing the same thing, but his competition brakes are built to take that.
Iorio was complaining later about hay bales that have been knocked into the line. Wonder who did that.
Ken Block was the 2nd fastest on stage 7 and moved briefly into the lead. On stage 8, the fast time goes to the Sims team of Tanner Faust and Chrissy Beavis.
Practice 4 plus.
Tanner Faust, the drifting star and professional stunt driver, started the day in the lead, but a 5th fastest time on stage 7 dropped him to 3rd overall. With backing from Rockstar and the Japanese Sims team, Faust and Beavis are going to be very strong this year.
Paul, look at Raman Alagam, and he's getting faster and faster. He climbed as high as 3rd overall before retiring out of gas.
Left 4, 70. Left 4,
And veteran 7-time champ Paul Chenier from Vermont and New Yorker Jeff Becker, they've got the private Hyundai in 4th.
Turn left 4, minus over crest.
sensation of day 2 was Andy Pinker. Last year's Oregon Trail winner is the fastest on stage 7 and 8, tied with Block for the rally lead. Wythe Gubelman and our Natalie Richard are currently 7th, leading Group N. Okay, this is stage 9. Rears camp. At 16.3 miles long, it's the longest stage and therefore the key to winning.
Paul, on the short stages, a guy might gain a couple seconds on you, but you can adjust your pace accordingly. But on a tight technical stage of this length, if you're not careful, you can come out on a deep hole on the score sheet. You can play it safe or you can go all in. Take big chances and maybe get lucky in the final pot.
Block and Gelsomino tied for the lead coming into this stage. They dominated Missouri, but these roads are different.
They sure are. Pay attention to the very pronounced crown on the roads. If you can use a tight inside line, you've actually got some banking, but slide up and over the crown, and suddenly it's off camber, and you're scrambling to hang on. Faust likes to slide across the whole road. Block, who's all about courage, breaks late, cuts apexes through the ditches, and matches the throttle. Both are struggling over the Oregon roads.
The one driver who has absolutely figured out Oregon is Andrew Pinker. Tied for the lead going into stage 9, he's committed 100% to the notes. And when he got to the finish line, jaws simply dropped. He'd won by 37 seconds, an astounding 2 seconds per mile faster than Ken Block.
It is incredible, Paul. Pinker has just joined the Sims team with Tanner Faust. He's got new sponsorship from Jack Daniels, and the Rally America bar has just been raised.
Pat Richard retired on stage 9 with brake failure. Ramona Lagerman's out of gas. Natalie is with our leader.
Andrew, you are flying out there. After 10 stages, you are 38 seconds ahead of Ken Block.
It's going well. I think this place is very kind to us.
You're a little modest, mister. Tell me about the roads. They're slippery.
They're great. Well, you're out there. It's so much fun here. The roads flow beautifully, and it works.
Rally America on ESPN is presented by Subaru, always ready. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. And by the new game Xbox Magazine calls the best racer on Xbox 360 yet, Dirt.
More rally action to come from Oregon, Washington, and Pennsylvania.
The teams don't get to prepare the notes that the co-drivers are reading to the drivers, so somebody like Wythe has to have complete trust in what I'm saying and in the notes. He might want to sometimes trust his eyes and what he sees out there, maybe cut a corner or stick a wheel in a ditch to help him around. But that's kind of risky because you never know what's in a ditch. You might have a big rock in there that's going to do a lot of damage. I asked some of the drivers about their co-drivers.
180 loose, left 4 over crest, 120 down.
Choosing the line, we've never been down the road before, there's a lot of faith in the co-driver and the notes.
The driver has to be committed to what the co-driver is saying.
If he tells you to hold it pinned, no matter what you see, no matter how it looks in front of you, if he says flat, if you want to win, you go flat.
You got to commit to the bend. I can predict that a left 5 looks a certain way in my head. It's not so much how he says it, but when he says it.
He has to give you the note right when you need it, which is something as a driver you don't always necessarily know when you need it, you just know when he's messing up.
Personally, I like about 1.5 instructions ahead. That always seems to go well with me personally.
With my co-driver Alex, his tone adjusts. Say if we're going from a very fast section into a very slow section, we actually use certain words to kind of inject that, hey, the speed of the stage is changing.
My co-driver Alan Ockwell, and some of the turns he repeats more than other co-drivers, but that's just the way that I like it.
Most co-drivers, when they're first learning, they'll be told be calm, make everything even, you just give the note like you're reading a book.
I was in the car with Chrissy Beavis, and she had just come out of co-driving for somebody who wanted the notes yelled. I always thought that everybody just read the notes and whatever, that was that. She started screaming at me, and I was thinking that the world was coming to an end. I was like, my God, the steering wheel must be falling off or something's on fire.
Christian Edstrom is the craziest son of a I've ever met in my entire life. First time I was ever really rallying with him. Huge cliffs on both sides of the road. He goes, flat crest. I started to lift. What are you doing? I mean, he didn't even know me from Adam, didn't know my driving skills. He's like, look, if I say flat crest,
you keep that right foot to the floor. We're going to make up some time on this section. And
last year we had a flat, we lost a lot of time, and we had to make up the time. So I said, Oli, I need you to push me every single corner, you know, really yell the notes. And of course, Oli's nerves are always just totally on the edge. So he's like, yes, I can do this. And he yelled himself hoarse, and we made up, you know, minutes. You know, we were flying.
You just have to trust your co-driver and say, okay, this is what he's saying. I believe you, buddy. Let's go.
Racers always ask, how can I get my car on television? Two ways: win or do something stupid in front of the cameras.
Here's an example, Paul. Carl Yaudeval didn't believe co-driver Amity Trowbridge when she said go straight, or maybe she missed up the note. Could happen to anyone. But then there's tracks on the road, but there's no excuse for the next 9 guys who all tried to make a left turn. They were believing their eyes and not the co-driver's instructions. Incredible.
Then there's this guy who saw the yellow car backing up but still insisted he knew best. They're going to need some counseling.
2 more stages on day 2, including a repeat of the long 16-miler. The running order didn't change. Faust won the long stage over a minute faster than his first pass, which had been hampered by a flat tire. His new Sims teammate had the rally well under control and finished today with a margin of 37 seconds over Subaru's Ken Block. With the rest of the fast guys either limping or retired, Oregon was a 3-horse race.
Drama. Day 3 at the Hillsborough Stadium start. Subaru Rally Team USA had changed motors overnight in Ken Block's car. Meanwhile, Pinker needed a push to get going.
The driver took the blame for that one. He inadvertently left the windshield heater on overnight. New car, new buttons, dead battery. Block's team was worried about their latest motor after Travis blew up on the first stage, so they returned to a more proven, slightly more conservative engine just to make sure their man made it to the finish.
Tanner Faust cranked off 3 consecutive fast times. The Sims team has 2 drivers now, and Tanner believes that will make them both faster.
Once again, the great Paul Schwinner is limping his old Tiburon home. Let's hope he makes it to the X Games, and Hyundai steps up to the plate.
Nothing easy about Iorio's and Holter's run. They finished with all the warning lights blazing, but they did finish. Another freestyle motocross star turned rally driver. Cowboy Kenny Bartram had another rally to remember, or maybe one he'd rather forget.
You don't have to own an all-wheel drive turbo supercar for rallying. There's great competition all through the field. Andrew Havis from Hopewell Junction, New York, won the inaugural Max Attack Challenge for 2-wheel drive cars in this 88 Civic. Former Pikes Peak winner Stefan Verdier gets his 2nd GT class win in a row.
But for the 2nd consecutive year, the Oregon Trail Rally belongs to Australian ace Andrew Pinker and British co-driver Patrick Walsh.
We had a no score on the last one, so not only have we got maximum points here, but I think 3 of the guys that were in front of us non-scored here with Travis, Lofton and ACP, so big help.
Bill Wood, as we look at the final results, you have to think Subaru of America has mixed feelings.
Sure, they'll be disappointed their #1 driver, Travis Pastrana, went out early, but look at this top 12. Schweiner's Hyundai in 4th, but otherwise it's a sea of Subarus.
Australian Andy Pinker wins the rally after dominating for the entire event. This makes him the 3rd winner in as many rallies, which really tightens up the points chase.
The top 8 in points after 5 events will receive invitations to the X Games, Rally America's Indy 500, the showcase event. And just like Indy, qualifying is crucial.
And in other news, Wyatt Gilman and I finished in 6th. Woohoo! Yeah. For more Rally America, stay tuned after the break.
We stay in the Pacific Northwest for round 4, the Olympus Rally, based in Olympia, Washington. After 3 races, the Rally America Championship is very tight at the top. 2 teams, 4 drivers, 10 points.
Sims drivers Andrew Pinker and Tanner Faust against the Subaru of America rivals, Travis Pastrana and Ken Block. Victory here in Washington will be critical to their championship campaigns.
Guys, that's right. Any of those 4 drivers could win, but I think the big story is going to be further down the pack in the point standings. There you'll find Paul Schwanier, Lachlan O'Sullivan, Matt Iorio, and Andrew Comrie-Picard. Now, those drivers have all had their fair share of problems through the year, but they're still vying for the remaining X Games qualifying spots. Add Rahm and Loggeman to the mix, and you've got 5 drivers who are going to be giving some big performances and some big risks.
64 teams will take the start from the state capitol in Olympia. That's the biggest field since this rally was the only North American round in the World Rally Championship back in '88. It's a short 17-mile transit to stage 1, where we join Matt Iorio and Ole Holter.
Iorio started first on the road, but his bad luck season continued. The Paladin team was suffered from engine problems at every event. Here at Olympus, still down on power to the other top teams. They consistently were in the top 10, but were never a threat to win.
Australian Andrew Pinker has competed all over the world, but last year he started the Rally America Series and quickly realized he'd underestimated the competition. Now he's back for 07, reunited with his regular British co-driver, Robbie Durant. Pinker's coming off that dominating victory 2 weeks earlier in Oregon and has to be the pre-event favorite. The Sims team is fielding cars that are not just fast, they're reliable. That added confidence that the car will be there when they need it has vaulted Pinker and fellow driver Tanner Fouls into serious contention for the Rally America Championship. The 2 Sims drivers won the first 3 stages at Olympus and are leading the overall rally by 3 seconds.
Paul, consider the number 43 Monster Subaru of Ken Block and co-driver Alex Gelsomino. Subaru Rally Team USA's second car is now carrying the hopes of the American Works team. After a 6th in Michigan, a win in Missouri, and a solid 2nd place in Oregon, Ken Block is leading this championship. Block runs 3rd just behind the 2 Sims cars, but number 1 driver Travis Pastrana is going through a rough patch.
Pastrana and Edstrom seem a little off the pace at the start and actually coast to a halt on stage 7. They'll continue for testing purposes, but out of official contention for the 2nd rally in a row. The reason?
0, yeah. Try to gas. Kill the anti-lag.
Paul Schwanier upset the Sims domination of day 1 when he posted the fastest time on stage 5 and jumped into the overall lead by 1.9 seconds. The Hyundai Tiburon he's driving was built back in '03 before Hyundai pulled out of the sport. The 7-time champ is relying on his experience to keep up with the new kids and their state-of-the-art cars. This stuff on stage 6 and a 3-wheel drive to the finish dropped him out of the lead back a minute to 6th place.
And right 4 plus, 15.
Romano Lagaman has been flying under the radar so far. He hasn't finished either of his first 2 events with the Cascade Mitsubishi team, but he's shown moments of absolute brilliance when he has been right on the pace. If Lagaman is going to make it to the X Games, then he has to score big here. Last year, he qualified for the X Games in a Ford Cosworth, but this is his first season in a Mitsubishi. He said he has to learn the car before he can start telling the mechanics how to set it up to handle better.
By the end of day 1, Andy Pinker holds a comfortable lead over Lagaman and Faust, who are less than a second apart.
In that fight for the final X Games spot, Lagaman is obviously getting the job done. Look at Otis Dimiters in Group N, 6th overall. He pitches the car and drives it everywhere he can. He's certainly getting the job done as well, but the car's paying a little bit for it. Matt Johnson is next, leading the GT category.
Then Wyeth Gubelman and his co-driver Felipe Arguelles, 9th overall, 2nd in Group N. Andrew Comrie-Picard is struggling back at 11th, just ahead of Stéphane Verdier.
More trouble for Travis Pastrana when we come back.
Welcome back. It's the start of day 2 of the Olympus Rally, and we're standing out here in the rain, which is a good thing for the drivers because it'll keep the dust away. Now, yesterday we spoke about 4 drivers who are desperately looking for points to qualify for the X Games. Sitting happily in second place is Roman Alagman. In 5th place is Paul Schwanier, but he's got overheating problems, and let's hope he can make it to the end. In 7th place, there's Matt Iorio, and in 11th place is Andrew Comrie-Picard. Yesterday, he had turbo problems and some alignment problems, and let's see how they do today.
Even in the rain, it's beautiful country. Andy Pinker started the day with a comfortable 29-second lead. Maybe he underestimated the pace, or maybe the rest of the field just stepped it up. But on the first stage, stage 11 at 10 miles long, the Jack Daniels Subaru was just 4th fastest, and Pinker's lead was cut in half.
The drift star in the Rockstar car won stage 11 and leapfrogged Lageman into second place in the Olympus Rally, 14 seconds behind his Sims teammate Pinker.
What I have in my hand here is a set of stage notes, and this is what the co-driver uses to describe to the driver what they're facing ahead of them on the road. If you look at this page, this is exactly what's coming up right before they hit this corner behind me. And just before it, we've got here a right 6 plus 50, right 6 plus 150. Right after that is this corner, which is a turn right 2 minus. Now in rally, we use numbers to describe the degrees of the turns. A 1 and a 2 would be a slow turn, 5s and 6s are fast turns. So looking at this line here, the drivers are carrying a lot of speed right before they get into a very acute right turn.
Right 6 plus.
For example, listen to Chrissy Beavis call the notes for Faust.
And right 6 plus, kinks 150. Then stump on right 30, turn right 2 minus. Right 2 minus. Left 6 plus over small crest 120.
Right 6 plus 50. Right 6 plus 120.
Now here's Jeff
right
Becker reading
minus.
for Paul Schwanier.
Right 2 minus. 30. Left 6 plus over small crest 100.
Next, we'll see Mark Goldfarb and Andrew Comrie-Picard. When you start to understand stage notes as a second language, you gain appreciation for both the co-driver and the driver, who can concentrate on what he's doing while splitting his attention to absorb information about what's coming up next.
After Travis Pastrana retired on stage 3, the team decided to keep running for testing purposes. Oh, good test. Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
This is just a bad way to end a long rally, I have to say. This was just supposed to be for experience and to, figure out how to catch those guys. They were turning faster times than we were all weekend, and it wasn't for points, so we had a good opportunity to test, and yeah, I blew it, so.
At 26.3 miles, stage 12 at Olympus is the longest special stage in the country. Andy Pinker likes to really push on the long ones because he can really demoralize the opposition. But Roman Alagman rises to the challenge. He's obviously got his Mitsubishi dialed in because he gave it maximum attack and beat Pinker by a colossal 20 seconds over 26 miles. Ramana becomes the 4th driver to lead the rally. Pinker will retake the lead, but they're never more than a few seconds apart.
Let's jump ahead to special stage 14. Otis Dimitters and Alan Ockwell are leading Group N in their Subaru WRX.
30, right 4 minus, 30, left 4 minus, very long. Oh, Jesus, left 4 minus, very long. You okay? Yeah. 30.
That big rock damaged his alignment, but they continue. When Paul Schwanier hits the same rock, the damage is considerably more extensive.
The whole right front corner is folded under. Luckily, it's only a few miles to service. There's just one special stage left at Olympus, and it's that 26-miler again. Pinker leads Lageman by 3 seconds. Subaru versus Mitsubishi. The big finish when we come back. Welcome back to Shelton, Washington, the Olympus Rally Final Service. I'm Paul Page with Bill Wood and Natalie Richard, and Paul Schwanier's in trouble.
Big trouble, Paul. He hit that huge rock on stage 14. Luckily, it was only 5 miles of service and 3 wheels. Now his crew has 20 minutes for repairs.
Just one of those big California or Washington State rocks were in the wrong place. There's no chance to avoid it, and I hit it, and that was the result. Fortunately, we were able to limp it here, and we'll see. Get it back together again and run a 26-mile stage, maybe get to the finish.
Still tightening as the wheel comes down from the Jackson Schwaniers back in the rally. Let's give it up for Salty Santolano and the Lieber crew.
And with Andy Pinker, there's one stage left to go, which is 25 miles. You are in the lead.
By a little bit.
A little bit, but you're in the lead.
Yeah, we went very hard on the long stage. It took 10 back out of Ramona. And then we equaled times on the little one, but we overshot a junction and cost us about 2 or 3 seconds reversing up. So I'm kicking myself a little bit for that.
So what's the strategy for the 25-miler? Full out?
We got to go for it, don't we?
Well, I think our car runs really well on the long stage, which is the last stage of the day. So I think if we can maintain the pace, I think we'll do well on that stage, and that stage is really the decider.
Competitive as this series is, it's rare to have 2 drivers battle it out for 2 days and take that fight right through to the final flying finish.
Speeds on these long straightaways are right around 120 miles an hour. That must feel like 200 on a dirt road with deep puddles of standing water.
Our split time at 9 miles clocks Pinker and Duran at 9 minutes 26 seconds.
Back to Lageman and Williams.
The split time of 9:34. That's 8 seconds slower than Pinker to this point.
Rahman has got to be worried about the puddles. He DNF'd in Missouri after a water crossing, and he can't afford to leave here without points.
Andrew Comrie Picard in another Mitsubishi Evo. He's having gear selector problems.
Next car behind ACP is Paul Schwanier. The Hyundai is back on 4 wheels, but the windshield is foggy.
Left 3 minus long.
They pass Comrie Picard at the side of the road making repairs.
Left 5.
Back with Pinker nearing the finish.
And here comes Lageman. He's pulled it up. They're virtually even with 2 miles to go.
That's ACP. He fixed his gear shift linkage with a tie wrap. He pulls out in front of Otis dimeters. All this stuff is happening at the same time on stage 15.
Talk about poor visibility. Look at this view at over 100 miles an hour.
What's happening with Schwanier? He can't see a thing, and he has no idea that Comrie Picard has caught up behind him. ACP is driving one-handed, holding it in gear.
Bang! There goes the windshield. They're both limping, but ACP is limping faster. 1 mile later, ACP spots a gap and passes. Schwanier would have pulled over, but he had no idea the Mitsubishi was even there.
Then Pinker, first on the road, 1 mile to the finish, and now he's got problems.
Come on, girl. Turn 1 left, care. Come on, girl. Turn 1 left over bad bump, no cuts.
The engine's cutting out in fast left bend.
1 left over bad bump, no cuts. Right 3 over finish, 180.
There's the time, 25 minutes, 41.3 seconds.
I don't know, it's cutting out.
Andrew Pinker and Robbie Durant are going to have to wait an agonizing 2 minutes for Lageman to arrive. Only then will they know if they were fast enough to win.
I don't know.
Clean run, though.
Yeah, we started to, I don't know if it's electrical, like water in the electrics or fuel. We ran a little bit light on fuel, of course. And for about the last 6 miles, it was on left-handers, I think. It was going, and then it would go again, so that was a bit frustrating.
All right, well, another minute. Oh, here he is. We'll see how it was.
2 minutes that feel like an eternity.
You did 25, 31. 31. Well done, boys. You've got it. You got it? Yeah. What did you do? Well done, guys. Yeah. Well done, guys. What's your time? 41, 25, 41, 3. And we were what?
4.6 seconds. That's the winning margin.
That's right, guys.
Yeah.
Ramana, not only have you finished your first rally of the year, but you won it.
It's unbelievable. That's really what we came here to do. We really shot ourselves in the foot with 2 bad finishes, well, non-finishes. So this is a dream, and to have a battle like this, you know, going to the last stage with 3 seconds, I don't know how much we won by, but it had to have been close. It was awesome, awesome.
You haven't seen awesome. This team is only going to get faster as Ramana gets used to that new car.
No hard feelings between Chouanier and Comrade Picard, who finished 7th and 8th, respectively. Pinker and Durant will have a long flight home to London to think of all the places they could have saved 4.6 seconds.
A 4th keeps Ken Block on top of the championship, but this was not a good weekend for the Subaru USA team.
Can't get enough Rally America? That's good, because we're going to Pennsylvania.
Wow, this Subaru Tribeca has a great
Final event today. We're in Wellsboro, northern Pennsylvania, for the 31st annual Susquehannock Trail Performance Rally, STPR for short. Top 8 in championship points are headed to the X Games. Now let's go to Natalie.
At the end of this rally, we're going to know who has qualified for the X Games, but nobody needs more points than Matt Iorio and Paul Chouanier. Now, coincidentally, they're the only ones entered who have ever won this rally before.
There's a little bit of pressure to repeat the performance from last year, but that's a good thing. You know, it pumps you up. It really makes you want to bring it to the next level.
I think the weather is going to play into effect, and experience is going to be a big factor today.
And 3 potential spoilers, Natalie. Irishman Seamus Burt, always fast, STPR veteran. Otis Demeters has run all season long, could easily top Lageman for the last qualifying spot. And then there's the current Canadian Rally champion, but I'll let Natalie tell you about him.
Guys, I have to admit a little bias on this one. Antoine Lestage has a Hyundai Tiburon capable of winning this event. And we just came off a big win last week in Alberta, Canada. That's right, I said we because I'm his co-driver.
STPR is a one-day event, but it's a long day. 10 special stages, 128 miles competitive driving with 4 service breaks. It'll be well past midnight before it's over. Weather is always a factor, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful and sunny right now, but we're expecting thunderstorms this afternoon. Now, the roads here at STPR can get really slippery in that. We're expecting everything. Who knows what we're going to get? Fog, rain, sun. We're waiting for it all, even dust. Now, NASCAR wouldn't run in this, but we're rally guys.
Andy Pinker takes the ceremonial start in Wellsboro with a little burst of acceleration for the fans. He'll slow right down, though, or he'll get a ticket. All the rules of the road, including speed limits, apply on the transit.
As the fans pour into the spectator areas, Travis Pastrana checked tire pressures and found they had a left front tire going down. Just 3 minutes until they start, and they have to change a tire.
Since moving over to the Sims team and securing sponsorship from Jack Daniels, Australian Andy Pinker has become the driver to beat in the number 5 Subaru.
Pastrana and Edstrom roll up to the start line just in time. Their adrenaline must be pumping, and they haven't even started yet. They're the defending Rally America and X Games champions, but they've had a run of bad luck recently and need to regain their winning form to get their championship campaign back on track.
Points leader Ken Block had his pre-rally adventures too. Yesterday, in the practice stage, he wrapped his race car around a tree. Now, the team quickly brought in his Stunt Junkies monster jump car from Vermont. An all-night session got the car ready, but co-driver Gelsomino was told to sit this one out. Filling in will be U.S. Rally legend and 11-time champion John Buffum, the Rally Master.
It's as good as it's, and probably better than it's ever been. In the early and mid 80s, we had a lot of manufacturers involved, and it was quite good. In the early 2000s, there were a lot of competitors all of a sudden, but then they went away as money got tight. And now we have Subaru, ESPN coming on now, the X Games. This is all very, very good for the sport to get the word to the younger generation. Racing's boring. You're running a racetrack that has 10 or 12 corners on it. You're doing each one of these 10 or 12 corners 100 times, so you have 1,200 corners, depending on how long the race is. In rallying, you're only doing each of these corners only once, so you have 12,000 corners one time. And then you throw the weather into that, and there's even more challenge. I'm showing my age here, but 30 or 40 years ago, Wheaties, they didn't used to have sports figures on the bucks. They had a saying that champions are made, not born, but I don't think that's right. You don't teach Tiger Woods how to play golf. You don't teach Roger Federer how to play tennis. And that's something they're born with. It allows them to be great champions and not just really good. Doug Shepard, who used to be my co-driver, if he had continued back in the late 80s and 90s, job, family, he couldn't continue. But if he had, I think he would have been really, really good. Paul, my stepson, again, he did a great job here. If he had ever had the money, he might have been able to. He has something. Tanner Faust, I don't know, maybe. It's not true that if somebody's good in a low-powered car, they'll be good in a high-powered car. That's not true. Travis, a young guy. He certainly has a fantastic feel of where the edge is when you're sliding sideways, whether it's on 2 wheels or 4 wheels. And that's something, again, it's hard to teach somebody. It's that seat-of-the-pants feel that gives you that little extra bit. And we'll see. I mean, he has a chance here.
That sac de patates name is a rally joke. Buffum once said he could drive just as fast with a sack of potatoes in the co-driver's seat. That's a remark he'll never live down.
Ken Block's miserable weekend continued. 6th fastest on the first stage. He coasted to a halt on stage 2 with fuel trouble.
We just seem to have lost fuel pressure. The engine's just not getting any fuel, so it's been a bit of a struggle this weekend.
Tanner Faust is at a drifting event this weekend, so Andy Pinker is solo on the Sims team. After 2 stages and 17 miles, he leads by 4.5 seconds.
Care, turn left 5. 20, turn right 2 over crest. 100.
Right 2 minus right here, T-bridge.
The Canadian champions Antoine Lestage and Natalie Richard are staying close to Pinker in their red Tiburon.
Here, small crest into tricky, right 4 plus, into bridge, tarmac, tricky, right 4 plus, into left 3 plus. Gravel 100.
The stars of Olympus, Lagaman and Mark Williams. Look at the speed and how close those trees are to the side of the road.
The fan favorite and probably the reason for rallying's resurgence, Travis Pastrana, putting on a show in 4th place.
Caution, turn right 1 uphill, 250. Right 1 uphill.
After 3 stages, Pinker has won 2 and leads by 9.2 seconds over Lestage. Lagaman won stage 3. Travis had a string of 4th fastest times. Coming up next is a Pennsylvania rally tradition, the Subaru Splash.
Rated E for everyone.
Presented by the new game Xbox Magazine calls the best racer on Xbox 360 yet, Dirt. And by Subaru, always ready. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Paul, name another sport where you have to wade to your grandstand seat. Is rally great or what?
Oh, you bet it is. And the fans are waiting for this man, Andrew Pinker, the rally leader. This is stage 4. The Subaru Splash, so named because of the flying finish line, is right in the middle of a stream.
Care, crest 30, right 4
Here comes the splash. 5 minutes, 8.6 seconds. That's the time to beat.
Here comes Paul Schwanier. He says he hates these roads, but they like him. Paul has won this rally 7 times.
Into right 5 minus short.
Oh, they're off the road, but they get it back. Schwanier stops the clock at 5:21.8, 13 seconds off the pace. Travis is next. That's more like it. 5:13.8. Quicker than Schwanier, but still 4 behind Pinker.
Andrew Comrie Picard and Mark Goldfarb spun 360 degrees, stalled, restarted, and still posted a good time on stage 4. .2, just 2.5 behind Pinker.
I've been hearing about this Subaru Splash 2 years now, and it was a disappointment. Nah, it was great. We hit it flat out and no problems. So it was really good. Really twisty down into the spectator area and then nailed it into the water. We'll see what the times were from that one, but we were 9 up on Antoine, I think, going into that one. So if I lost 9 in there, then he's my hero.
Here comes Antoine Lestage. This is the Quebec driver's first appearance in the 07 Rally America Series. He can't qualify for X Games, but Natalie wanted to bring him down to Pennsylvania just to prove that he belongs and can win in America. So far, she has a point.
They post the fastest time and close the gap to just 4 seconds behind Pinker after 35 stage miles.
Iorio and Holter back at 11th. It's all part of the plan.
We're 40 seconds out of, 4th place or so right now, but I fully expect that he's going to start taking that back right away after the next 3 stages. It's just the way he drives. No matter how he starts today, he just gets faster and faster every stage, every rally.
Oh, real rally definitely starts now, but definitely not. Our game plan was to start out focused and on par, and then we wouldn't have to take big risks down the end. But I mean, definitely there's a lot of rallying to go. There's most of the stages, night stages, long stages, a lot can happen. I've just been driving a little too conservatively, and we got to pick it up.
Pick it up he did. Travis blitzes the 10-mile stage 5, 10 seconds faster than the rally leader. Travis has said that this is one of his favorite rallies because success requires total commitment to notes.
Crest 150. Crest caution, small crest right 2 plus. 70 small crest right 2 plus. Left 4 don't cut.
Stand on the gas, Travis. His charge continues into stage 6 where he is fastest to the halfway point before a mysterious overheating problem forces him to back off and save the motor.
Yeah, water pressure's up. Right 4. Yeah, water temperature 125.
Lagerman is also much faster on this second set of stages, second to Travis on 5, then fastest on 6 and 7.
And the red Tiburon from Quebec has actually moved into the lead by 0.2 of a second after stage 5. But on stage 6, remember where Travis really lost it?
Okay, try and start her up. So left 4, don't cut.
The rear alignment was badly bent, causing another spin on the next left turn. Unable to face another long stage before service, they withdraw, giving the lead back to Andy Pinker.
We were here trying to win the rally. Now we're so far back, we just decided, instead of hurting the car more or hurting us, because the car is like, the geometry I think is not right. So we just decided to it's over.
Andrew Comrie Picard joined the list of retirements after this spin. And a subsequent electrical fire.
We had a great duel in the 2-wheel drive Group 5 class. Andrew Havas in this entertaining old Mazda RX-7. against 17-year-old Kyle Saracen's front-wheel drive Ford Focus.
A huge crowd of rally fans showed up at Stage 7. Now, these people waited in the woods for hours. But due to security problems beyond the control of the organizers, the stage had to be canceled, and the cars paraded through. At service in Germania, we got Natalie Richard back working for ESPN. Welcome back, Natalie.
That's right, we're at the service here, and the last stage, Stage 7, was just canceled. So all the cars are transiting in, and they're all pretty much getting in all at the same time right now.
Yeah, Stage 5 was good. Stage 6 was going excellent. I mean, really felt just great, but then we started, I was like, Christian, the motor's dying again. We got really lucky they had a transit on the last stage. So technically we're still in the rally. We're still sitting third. We're not that far out, but we'll see. I don't know how quick they can change a motor.
I'm here with rally leader Andrew Pinker. Now, Andy, you guys are in the lead by 17, 18 seconds?
Apparently, yeah. It's enough. It'd be nice if it was a little bit more going into these nighttime stages, but we'll see. It's a little bit of deja vu, me and ramming her up the front again. So
I'm here with Kyle Saracen, who's right now leading Group 5. Now, Kyle, you are having the drive of your life. You're in 8th place overall. You must be ecstatic.
Yeah, it's awesome. Having a lot of fun. Co-drivers doing perfect. We're clicking together, and the roads are fast and smooth, and they're my kind of roads. I like to drive them fast, so it's working out good.
The closing stage looked like a reprise of the Pinker versus Lageman duel at Olympus. The two were evenly matched, and Lageman had left his charge too late. This time, Andy Pinker and Robbie Durant come out on top.
Andrew Pinker and Robbie Durant become the first repeat winners of the season, but there have been performances here and at the earlier events that suggest we could still see winning performances from drivers like Faust, Lestage, and Chouanier. The Subaru USA team will be back to form soon. They have to, and when they're on, they're hard to beat. The championship is far from over, Paul.
There will be, Bill, a last chance wild card invitation to be awarded at our next rally, the New England Forest. Round 6 of the 2007 Rally America Championship. For Bill Wood and Natalie Richard, I'm Paul Page.